I want to meet you. I want to meet the you inside of you. The you inside of you that will not be denied. The overlooked you, the disrespected you.
Hi, welcome back to Finding Us 7600. I'm Damian Smith.
I'm Xavier.
And picking up from where we last left off. And so I'm coming back from Florida, going to Indiana. Things took a horrible turn when I got back between my ex-wife, who's now my ex-wife, and I. And it's one of those things where it's like it was one of those situations got real ugly. And, it is what it is. I'm back in Gary, and it's like I come back and I'm trying to figure things out, figure out what's next. I applied and actually got back from an interview right before I got back to Florida for a company out in California. And things seemed on the up and up with that. But it was going to take some time because of background clearance and everything. So here it is, I get back. Family relationships are a little weird at that time. I see Xavier, and we still weren't really talking then. It was one of those things where I think he was trying to figure out why was I back there. But it was a thing of where at the time he was working. He was finished with high school, and I don't know. It was just real weird between us. Some time goes by. We have a couple of conversations, and from there, I invited him to go down to Alabama with me on a road trip. And it was just different because at that time I know there was some issues with drugs being used with him. And of course, I don't think any parent is happy of that ever. The biggest thing for me was I looked at it like it was a big disappointment, a big letdown for me because I did everything to make sure he wasn't raised around that, and to grow up in environments where that, was never okay. Part of it for me was nothing more than just knowing that I had been raised around that, and I looked at all the individuals that introduced me to that at a very young age, and how they struggle still to this day on just the simple things in life. Just when I say the simple things, I'm talking about just even as far as making up a decision for themselves. Say, hey, let's go somewhere. It takes them forever to get ready. Just a lot of dragging of the feet and everything. But so we take the road trip to Alabama, and for those of you all that don't know, that's originally where Xavier's from, where he was born, Huntsville. It was a good trip. It was refreshing. We actually got, that was our first opportunity to talk some, going down and everything. And he had shared with me that he thought that when I had sent the text message to him and his sister, that they thought I was going to kill myself. But yeah, we go down, connect with a lot of family and everything. And when we were coming back, Xavier's driving the car. I go to sleep, and we were driving for how long? It was for what, 3 or 4 hours? I started hearing some loose gravel, and I wake up to say, "Are you all right?" And the moment I do that, he wakes up, driving, and we're all over the road and everything. And I just remember telling him "Hey man, you gotta calm down. You gotta take your foot off the gas." And it's you could tell at first when it happened, it was one of those situations where he was like, "I want to sleep. I want to sleep. I don't know what happened." But like he came to his senses and everything. I was like, look, man, you're gonna have to drive, like get us pull off to a gas station or something like that. This dude's driving like 15 miles an hour on the highway. We get to the gas station, check the car out and everything, and it just had a dent in the hood. I think he had hit like a mile marker sign or something like that. The crazy part about it all in hindsight is it's like when we pass that part, like whenever we go back and forth to Indiana going in that direction, like if it was just less than a mile prior to where he went off the road, he would have actually hit a guardrail. So like for me, it was more or less the fact that we made it, and from that moment forth, that was like a sign to me, in a weird way, just a sign, just like this is meant to be, just us coming back together and everything like that. So some time goes by. It's literally a month, and I asked him actually, when we were coming back from Huntsville, I asked him, did he want to go to California with me?
So at the time, I was also thinking about leaving to live with my mother in Florida, and my dad asked me that question. So when he did that, I just had to think for, what was that, a week or two? It was like a week and a half, probably. Um, just to see pros and cons, and if I go, what would it be like with this guy again, and if I really want to go. But the big deciding factor was, it was California and I'd never been before, so I was just like, I want to go to the West Coast at least once, and I really liked it. It was, I guess, much needed. It was a big change of scenery, but
I think the biggest thing was the initial drive when we got out, and it was crazy because I was like, yeah, we're gonna leave on Friday. Everybody was like, you're gonna leave on Friday. I was like, yeah, we're just gonna get up, we're gonna leave on Friday. And we mapped it out. I think, what was it? If we left by Friday, what was it? No, we left Thursday. Yeah, we left Thursday and got there on a Friday night. So we left out early Thursday morning. Got there Friday evening. Stayed with a friend of mine from high school out there. And it was a thing of, for me, it was like I was waiting to hear back from this job, and I felt like, well, I was doing nothing in Gary. Pretty much just took that time just to regain some mental sanity. And at the same time, looking at ways of reconnecting with Xavier. It was so much animosity there, was so much, things that were left unsaid. And through it all, I never wanted him to feel like I didn't care. I never wanted him to feel like I didn't love him. The person I was with at the time, I saw as time went on, and that was one of the things that caused the misery for me, was because they came from brokenness. Broke situations were fine with them. And when I say that, I'm just talking about the fact that, like, just the me reconnecting with my kids or anything like that, that would never happen with that individual in my life, because it wasn't a priority to them. The only priority to them was just them. And I say that to say, just be careful who you connect to. And in the times, sometimes we'll meet individuals and our only job is to pass on a piece of the puzzle and keep it moving. And in my situation, I held on to the piece of the puzzle and thought, like, well, maybe this is a sign, or this is some way of connecting with somebody. And the truth of the matter was, it wasn't. I was supposed to pass off that piece of the puzzle and just keep it moving. But I allowed outside, internal things to push me into a place or a position of trying to pursue something that was never for me. So in reconnecting with Xavier, you know, first it started off going on the trip to Huntsville. We came back, make up the decision to drive out to California. And we just got in the car, loaded up our stuff, and we drove out. And it was one of those things where like we stopped at a friend's house in Kansas City, Missouri, and slept on the couch there for like I think overnight. Drove cross country, and it was the cool part about driving cross country to California was just nothing more than just seeing just how boring it is once you get past the Midwest. There is nothing out there. Beautiful sceneries, saw some beautiful sunsets, sunrises. It was just one of those things where that was just a boring. it was crazy because yeah, we passed through every time zone, every type of weather. It was hot. It was cold. Yeah, we got to Colorado. It snowed really hard. The temperature dropped about 40 degrees. Then it was hot again. We get to Nevada, get to Las Vegas, get a room and crash, and then pick up the rest of our trip. And it was like a 10-hour trip from Las Vegas. Every step along the way, we're having conversations just about like things that have taken place in our lives since we've last been together. You know, some of the necessary stuff. The one thing that I regret the most with it all was just the fact that, and I don't think I ever told you this, but the day we got into it, I'm truly sorry about that, about taking that out on you, and just the it was so much. There was so much going on behind the scenes, and I just didn't. I don't know. I didn't know how to process it all, and I didn't do it in a healthy way.
Did you take it out on me?
In that moment, I think what it was it wasn't just you. It was, I mean, not just that situation. I had the biggest issue I had with it all was just the fact that when I was saying just give her your phone and I'll be there, and you know, and you were just like no, and I was like no, I'm not dealing with that today. But it was like a culmination of all of it. Here it is. I took on a responsibility that was some days felt like greater than me. It was so many outside situations that were going on with the in-law and just a whole bunch of foolishness on that side and everything like that. You got those individuals that are quote unquote your friends that you know are supposed to be there for you or say they're trying to be there for you, and you just see that they're more or less just talking to you just as just for entertainment. So where it's like, here it is, the individual you're really confiding in, you think they're your friend and they're there for you, and you find out that it's nothing more than just another reality TV show for them. And that's the extent that they're calling you for the tea. And here it is, you're in a real situation where you need help, and you know, sometimes you'll find out who's really there for you on your side. So we get to California, and it's real interesting there for us because we're back in a situation where, you know, grateful for the help and everything, and it was just California is different, man. California is different. I think our first official day there, we go to Carnival in San Francisco, and we ride into town, catch an Uber to where Carnival is at, and like within 2 blocks, see people shooting up heroin on the street. 1 block, stop, this dude is just like literally got a needle hanging out of his arm, shooting up. Get to next block over, this woman just finishes pulling a needle out of her arm and hands it to a guy, and he puts it in his arm and starts shooting up. It was just an eye-opening experience. It was like just being on a different planet altogether.
You saw people passed out and all that.
Oh yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, just like people just laying in the street. Just like when I say laying in the street, I'm talking about like literally laying on the sidewalk, knocked out asleep. So the cultural difference of California, where it's like just a open-minded, anything goes environment, beautiful place, love the sights, the scenery of it all. I want to go back. It's just at that time when we were there, it was so expensive, and that is something that I would tell anybody that is planning on moving there. Do your research. Make sure you got something lined up.
I mean, people told you. You just had your ways about
No, it wasn't told to me like that. Because like even with the research I did, I figured, well, if I get this job, and that was the thing, the job I had lined up, it was housing and everything for me, but it was one of those things where when I talked to Xavier and found out, if he wanted to go, and he was like, yeah, then that's when the situation changed. So I was like, okay, now I have to make sure that I can provide for us. So get to California, we are doing our thing, living it up. Xavier gets a job, and I'm still waiting. And I think you were working for like almost a month before I started working, weren't you? Yeah,
it. With
something like that. This dude, like, he turned into a beast and was like literally working working one job, had interviews out the yin yang. I'm going to the gym like crazy. One of the things I learned on my journey was just the fact that, like, for anyone that is looking to, go through the rebuild process, a lot of times you have to tear down the person that you are and start over afresh. And it starts in the mind. And once you go from the mind, it runs into everything else. So in order to get to that place of where, I needed to be, I had to tear down who I was and got in the gym, started working out.
I think the uncomfortableness helped though.
Of what?
Where we were staying.
Well, I mean, actually, the process for me, it started before I got to California, because I was going to the gym when I was in Indiana. The uncomfortableness I agree with you. The uncomfortableness was there as well. The uncomfortableness of staying with a whole nother family pretty much pushes you to do everything you can just to have peace of mind. And at the same time, put you in that place of where it's like, okay, I got to make the most of the situation. That soul searching. I spent a lot of time. I would go drop off Xavier at work. I go to the gym, go in the gym for 2 hours, and then I would go sit in the park for like another 2 hours. And a lot of it was just soul searching, prayer, trying to figure out what was next. We had a conversation. We had multiple conversations about just the fact that, like, if things didn't work out for us as far as finding a place and everything, because the rent was so high, the job situation didn't come through for me. What we willing to do to stay there, and part of it was like if we had to live in our car, this dude had mapped out a whole plan. It was like, all right, we live in the car, we take a shower at the gym, and the only thing I was stuck on was like, but where does that put us as far as, we go to the laundromat to clean our clothes, but I was like, where does that put us as far as ironing our clothes? And that's the one thing, like, anybody that knows me, it's almost like I have a compulsive disorder about ironing. And when it comes down to wrinkles, I iron everything daily. And it's funny that I say this because when I think about it, the other day, Xavier was going to the gym, and I watched him iron his T-shirt that he was wearing to go play basketball, and I was like, he gets it true.
I thought of it too. I was like, why am I ironing it?
Right.
Like,
But yeah, it's California put us in a position where we had a lot more time to talk, a lot more time to plan, talk about our goals, our dreams. It gave Xavier necessary time away from that home environment, also just to get his mind wrapped around what he wanted to do in life.
California, it really helped me out in a way. It was like a clean getaway. I was in Indiana for like staying there really forever, and California was like a place I've always wanted to go to. And when I went there, it was just beautiful, so captivating. And when I just when we got there, it just took me in a whole nother mindset. And when I was there, I just wanted to, I don't know, have success all around. So California, it was the way it really taught me things I don't know, I just needed to know. Patience, responsibility, take care of your house, all that. Um, and I went to the gym a lot in that time, and I liked it because like going to the gym, it cleared my mind.
Yeah.
It just helped a lot. I found ways. That's the thing I've noticed about myself. I find ways to just do things. Um, I find people to just do things, and like I don't even know how I got into basketball out there, but it really helped, you know.
Oh, that was through that. What was it? I think it was Andy's friend invited us out.
James.
Yeah, James.
James.
Yeah, shouts
yeah.
out to James. Yeah, they gave us something. I think I played 3 games.
Nah, bro, it was like two,
No, it was 3.
three.
Yeah, it was 3.
That one night, yeah, three.
I played 3 games, and I was like, yeah, I'm too old for this.
He collided with me, and he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it.
Yeah, it was a lot of patience, a lot of lessons in patience.
Patience was really key.
Faith in God was most definitely strengthened. That was part of the process as well. It was so much that just prayed for, and so much that it was like just tested. I remember, man, there was this feeling that came over me when we got to California, and we got past Burbank, and we got past, like, we're driving towards Napa, going past all these cattle farms, and there was this feeling like I'm in the middle of a frozen lake, but I'm too far to go back. And I was like, all I can do is just trust in God and ride this thing out. I believe that God was gonna see us through. And man, I don't think I've ever eaten so many peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in my life. Haystacks, and it was a lot. I'm thankful for my friend Andy and his family for taking us in the time that we were there. It was necessary. It was one of those things where it was what was needed all the way around, because by us being there, we were able to provide some opportunities of help for them as well. Funny thing is, when we started out on this journey, we never thought that like we would end up in the situations we ended up in, and just being able to have that time and that space to grow and bring us full circle. I get a job, and it was crazy. I was going on so many interviews. I don't think I've ever received, when I say like rejection, I have no problem with rejection at all. It was a thing of where I got so many letters of rejection of jobs that I forgot that I even applied for some of these jobs. So to me, it was like I'm getting rejection letters from other people that for jobs they applied for, because it got to the point where it's like that's how many letters of rejection I was receiving, because I was applying for everything. But it was a thing of where it was intentional, all in the areas of like social services. I wanted to do something that was purposeful and lined up with the mission of my life. So literally going on job interviews, one of the things that nobody tells you about if you're going to go to California, man, especially if you're going and you have to travel, travel alone is going to make you very patient, because it takes you forever to get any place of real distance. It's beautiful, once you get there and everything, crossing the Golden Gate Bridge, going from Oakland to San Francisco, all that, but yeah, it was a headache. Um, Cost of living is high. So with that being said, it is what it is. There's nothing around it. We were blessed enough to actually keep gas in the car the entire time we were there. Um, yeah, we ain't missed no meals. So
I appreciate Target, and I made a friend, a good friend to me. His name is Itiyar. I'm glad I made a friend with him because he stayed literally like 10 steps away,
yeah,
and it really helped me to just get out the house. That helped a lot. Yeah. But with the whole job thing, I really didn't push it or stress the matter. Honestly, I didn't even care to get a job because it was California. I just wanted to be there for a second, enjoy it, walk around. I never got to walk around the place, but
we did.
Napa, I didn't get to walk around Napa.
Oh, I did. Yeah, you didn't miss nothing.
I mean, I know, but it's just like sometimes I just do that in places. But yeah, it was a nice experience to have.
No, remember we went to downtown Napa. Remember that? Yeah, remember we like got dressed up. We went downtown Napa. I think it was like 2 blocks, and we were done. It was like, this is it?
Oh, the museum and all that.
Yeah, that was interesting. But
I really miss Napa though. That was like one of the coolest places I've been to. Like, I can't lie. It was an actual cool place to be.
I liked Oakland.
Really, I like San Francisco.
San Francisco was cool.
Yeah.
I was out there with the freaks and weirdos. I liked it.
But I really was pressed to leave because I had opportunities and opportunities for jobs. Boys and Girls Club. I kind of should have told them that I wasn't going to be there. But Boys and Girls Club was interested in me. Target still had me. And then what's it called? The winery. That winery. See, I was hoping for that winery to come out. But it was cool. It was alright.
So what happened was we had got to a point where we had to leave. And it was one of those things where the place we were staying, we couldn't stay anymore. And I was like, okay, I gotta find something. So I literally looked online like crazy over like a 12-hour period. And something said like, all right, what are all the jobs that you've done that you did exceptionally well? And the Boys and Girls Club always came to mind, working with those with disabilities. And then the other one was working in healthcare with Oak Street Health. So went online, looked to see what places they were opening up new clinics, and North Carolina was one of them. And I applied for Charlotte and Greensboro. And how did it work out? It worked out like I applied online on a Thursday. Monday I got a call. Tuesday I got my first interview. Thursday I had my last interview. Friday I received a job offer. We packed up our stuff that Friday and drove from Napa to Gary, Indiana, and then from Gary to Greensboro, North Carolina. And literally within, was it a week and a half? Was it a week?
From Napa to where?
To here. Yeah, all I know is what was it? I got the job offer on the 9th. We got here in Greensboro on the 18th. And I started work on the 19th. And it's one of those things where it's crazy when I think about it, like to start off in Gary, go to Florida, end up from Florida to California, from California to Greensboro. And you couldn't have told me any of this would have happened, especially seeing how things have played out with Xavier and I's relationship and how things came back full circle and just us reconnecting. I think our relationship is a lot stronger today than it was before. I'm grateful for it all. it's one of those things where I thank God that, you know, He provided us the space and opportunity to go through all the trials and tribulations and the ups and downs, and sleeping in the car, and sleeping on couches and air mattresses and everything, to get to the point where it's like now we have a legitimate home and a legitimate relationship. And you know, the cool part about it is it's like it doesn't stop here. Xavier will be moving on soon, going to Florida and going into school and
I want to meet you. I mean, I want to meet the you inside of you. The you inside of you that will not be denied. The overlooked you, the disrespected you. The you inside of you. The overcomer you. The refuse to quit you. The in spite of you. The against all odds you. The even though I'm sick, I go anyway you. The knock down you, but the get back up you. All I'm trying to say is I want to meet the awesome you.
Be awesome.
You know you're awesome.
You're awesome.
Yeah, you.
Be awesome.
You're fearfully and wonderfully made. God makes no mistakes.
Be awesome.
You're awesome.
You're awesome.
Yeah, I'm talking to you.
Be awesome.
You're awesome.
You're awesome. Yeah.
I want to talk to you that woke up in the morning to get at you. The you inside of you that believes that anything less than awesome is an insult to our Creator. The world needs you to be awesome. The enemy needs to know that you are awesome. I want to talk to you because you need to be awesome. Yeah.
Be awesome.
So pull back the curtain.
You're awesome.
Hello, world.
Be awesome.
Repeat after me. It's me unapologetically. Cause I'm awesome. He woke me up this morning.
You're awesome.
Started me on my way.
Be awesome.
Be awesome.
You're awesome. Yeah.
Look in the mirror, what did I see? My great God keeps blessing me.
So awesome.
I'm awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome.